In medieval historiography, East Francia or the Kingdom of the East Franks forms the earliest stage of the Kingdom of Germany, lasting from about 840 until about 962. East Francia was formed out of the division of the Carolingian Empire after the death of Emperor Louis the Pious. But the East-West division gradually hardened into the establishment of separate kingdoms' borders. In August 843, after 3 years of civil war following the death of Louis the Pious on 20 June 840, the Treaty of Verdun was signed by his 3 sons and heirs. His namesake Louis the German received the eastern portion of mostly Germanic-speaking lands. The contemporary East Frankish Annales describes the kingdom being divided in 3, and Louis acceding to the eastern part. The West Frankish Annales Bertiniani described the extent of Louis's lands. At the assigning of portions, Louis obtained all the land beyond the Rhine River, but on this side of the Rhine also the cities of Speyer, Worms and Mainz with their counties. The Kingdom of West Francia went to Louis's younger half-brother Charles the Bald, and between their realms the Kingdom of Middle Francia, incorporating Italy, was given to their elder brother, the Emperor Lothair I, while West and Middle Francia contained the traditional Frankish heartlands. The East consisted mostly of lands only annexed to the Frankish Empire in the 8th century. These included the duchies of Alemannia, Bavaria, Saxony and Thuringia, as well as the northern and eastern marches with the Danes and Slavs. The contemporary chronicler Regino of Prume wrote that the different people of East Francia, mostly Germanic and Slavic-speaking, could be distinguished from each other by race, customs, language and laws. Kingship. The regalia of the Carolingian Empire had been divided by Louis the Pious on his deathbed between his 2 faithful sons, Charles the Bald and Lothair. Louis the German, then in rebellion, received nothing of the crown jewels or liturgical books associated with Carolingian kingship. Thus the symbols and rituals of East Frankish kingship were created from scratch. From an early date the East Frankish kingdom had a more formalized notion of royal election than West Francia. Around 900, a liturgy for the coronation of a king, called the Early German Ordo, was written for a private audience. It required the coronator to ask the designated prince whether he was willing to defend the church and the people, and then to turn and ask the people whether they were willing to be subject to the prince and obey his laws. The latter then shouted, "Fiat, fiat," an act that later became known as recognition. This is the earliest known coronation ordo with a recognition in it, and it was subsequently incorporated in the influential Romano-German pontifical. In June 888, King Arnulf convened a council at Mainz. In attendance were the 3 archbishops of the East Frankish kingdom, Wilbert of Cologne, Leodbert of Mainz and Ratbod of Trier, and the West Frankish archbishops of Reims and Rouen, along with the bishops of Beauvais and Noyon. According to Walter Ullmann, the presence of the West Franks was on account of the barren ecclesiastical thought of the East, and the council proceeded to adopt West Frankish ideas of royal sacrality and anointing. It was the first phase in the process of assimilation of the 2 halves of the Carolingian inheritance. In another church council at Triber in 895, the prelates declared that Arnulf was chosen by God and not by men, and Arnulf in turn swore to defend the church and its privileges from all its enemies. When Arnulf died in 899, his minor son, Louis IV, was crowned, but not anointed, and placed under the tutelage of Archbishop Hatto of Mainz. Louis's coronation was the first in German history. When Louis died in late September 911, Duke Conrad of Franconia was elected to replace him on 10 November, and he became the first German king to receive unction. Church. The 3 basic services monasteries could owe to the sovereign in the Frankish realms were military service, an annual donation of money or work, and prayers for the royal family and the kingdom. Collectively, these were known by the technical term Servitium Regis. According to the evidence of the Notitia de Servitio Monasteriorum, list of monasteries and the services they owed drawn up around 817, the burden of military and monetary service was more severe in West Francia than in East Francia. Only 4 monasteries listed as beyond the Rhine owed these services: Lorsch, Schatten, Mondsee and Tegernsee.